Alright, everybody, welcome back to Major Gaming, and today I want to go on one more rant about Dead by Daylight and the community around Dead by Daylight because there was some stuff going on, like 2 weeks ago. I'm a little late to my rant, but it's kind of a good thing I'm a little late to it because my thoughts are more fleshed out now compared to back when it was first happening. So I have a little bit of a more digestible argument, I think, for people. So, a couple weeks ago, when the unknown hadn't been known yet, um, people were speculating it was either a skinwalker or a Wendigo killer. And there were people online going like, "Oh, behavior, you can't use the name Wendigo. You can't call it a Wendigo. It offends people." And behavior responded, said it had nothing to do with it, which clearly it didn't. But the point is, I have two arguments for why that whole argument is just dumb. It really is dumb. For one, it was mainly white people speaking on behalf of Native Americans. And I'll tell you right now, I am part Native American. My biological grandfather on my mom's side was Native American, and then my great grandfather was actually the chief of his tribe. So I am part Blackfoot and part I have a hard time pronouncing the second one, but it starts with a P. It's like Peco or something like that. I have a hard time pronouncing it, but I know what it is, but I can't say it. It's bad. I'm bad with names. But regardless, I am part Native American before anyone starts being like, "Oh, well, you're a white guy," speaking on it. No, I'm part Native American. I have Native American family. There's Native American in my blood. Okay? I'm not full Native American, obviously. My dad is white. I mean, but I am part Native American. I have Native American family. Of all people to be speaking on it, I have more say than just random white people on the internet trying to appease to everyone. It's so weird because I pointed this out in a Twitter comment because I'm like, look, I'm part Native American. I know Native American culture for the most part, and this is just dumb because, for one, Wendigos are not real. Just because some people believe they are real does not mean they are real. Okay, they're not real. Clearly, they're not real. Same with skinwalkers. So the idea that you can't say the name of something that doesn't exist is crazy. And the fact that non-Native American people already know about Wendigos and skinwalkers. I mean, Animal Planet did a Lost Tapes episode on skinwalkers, and I think they did one on the Wendigo too. There was that movie Antlers about Wendigos. There was Until Dawn, which is a game about Wendigos that all have already came out years before this ever happened. Nobody said anything, at least as far as I know. But the moment behaviors might release a killer with the name Wendigo, all of a sudden it's a bad thing because in Native American culture, you're not supposed to say the name Wendigo because it could like affect the spirits or whatever. It could like call bad spirits onto you, and yeah, that's not a thing anymore. Maybe in some tribes, some Native Americans still believe in that, but most people nowadays have common sense to realize that these things don't exist, and that saying the name Wendigo does literally nothing. Okay, this is like Native Americans have modernized. We don't just sit in huts around fires and just, that's not a thing anymore. We don't do that. We're not trapped in the grasslands. Okay, like goddamn. Like, we are modern people just like anyone else. Most of us know that a Wendigo is not real and saying its name does nothing. Okay? Like, if it's more demeaning to think that we all think that way than it is to like tiptoe around it, you know? It's like all right, I have a ton of black homies, and people will talk about like how black people like are super offended by certain things, and then my homies are just like, why would I be offended by that? I don't care. And they're like, oh well, and it's a bunch of white people going like, oh well, you should care because you're black and blah blah blah, and they're literally sitting there like, I have a white guy telling me I should be offended by something like because I'm black. That's crazy. Like they'll literally like they're looking at it like, what? You know? So like it's so bad because like, stop, just stop. If you have no reason to speak on it, you just want to be on the right side of what's going on. You want to be, you know, the virtuous, look at me, I do everything I'm supposed to do, I'm a nice guy, I accept everyone. Like, no, that's not how the world works. Stop, just stop. Okay, just stop. It's very annoying. Like, I don't tell black people what they should and shouldn't be offended by. You know, if a black person isn't offended by something, and then they're not offended. If they are offended, then they are offended. It's a personal thing. It's not like all black people think the same, all Native Americans think the same, all Asians don't think the same. We are independent people with independent minds and experiences, okay? We don't, just because we belong to a certain race or whatever, doesn't mean we all think the same. Not all white people think the same, clearly. So, like, I don't know. It's dumb. It's just a very, very weird mentality to have. And then once I say, like, hey, I'm part Native American, I don't care. I want representation for Native American stuff. I like the story of the Wendigo. I like that it can be represented, and stuff. And I don't care if it's called the Wendigo. And I want that to happen. I want a Native American survivor and a Wendigo or Skinwalker or something, because that'd be cool. An Until Dawn chapter. Until Dawn is a license. Like, Behavior has no... If they want an Until Dawn chapter, which a lot of people want an Until Dawn chapter, if they want to do that, they can't control that the killer is gonna be a Wendigo. Maybe they can not call it the Wendigo, but regardless, it's a Wendigo. It's a licensed chapter. You can't just change what it is. So the fact that you are essentially cucking a whole chapter just because some people that don't play Dead by Daylight might be offended by hearing the name Wendigo is beyond crazy. Like, crazy to me. Like, come on. Like, yeah, no, that's just so dumb. It really is. And now I'm going to go on to my second argument about why this is kind of dumb. Yeah, it is dumb. Not kind of. But my second argument is, alright, so we are playing a game that celebrates the horror genre. Okay? You know what the horror genre is? Murder, mutilation, rampant sex and sexual assault and all that stuff. Like, horror is the worst of the world put into a movie. You know? And this game allows you to become the worst part of the horror movie, the killer. Like, it allows you to become that. And it glorifies murder. And yet people are taking this high ground like, oh, we can't offend people. Like, it's a horror game. Anyone who plays, like, how are you getting offended that hard by something? It's funny because, like, people are like, oh, we need more gay and trans people in the game, and it's like, yeah, sure, that's cool, I get it, but, like, you want more gay and trans people to be able to be killed in this game. That's the whole game, is you either escape or get killed. So it's like, oh, we want to give the killer the ability to kill more gay and trans people, or we want the killer to be able to kill more black people, or whatever. It's the weirdest argument. Like, I don't fully understand it, but regardless, I get it because I want Native American representation, but I also don't get offended by things. So it's weird when you want that representation, but then you also get offended by certain things. Like, it's really weird. It's like, if you want the representation, you can't be offended because the whole game is about killing the representation. You know, like, that's what it's about. It's so weird. Like, I don't care if gay or trans people are in the game. I don't care. But people are, like, fighting to allow people to kill gay and trans people in the game. It's very, like, we need that so bad. It's like, do we really? Do we really? And then people are like, oh, well, there are so many more white survivors compared to survivors that are people of color. It's like, for one, most of those are licensed characters where you can't change the race. Behavior had no control of that. For two, people of color are not in a ton of movies, so even if they want to get the licenses, like they have to get a licensed character that's a person of color. Like, that, they don't have that much control over what licenses they get. So take out all the licenses because they don't have control over that, and then just do original characters. There are more people of color than there are white people in the game when it comes to just original characters. It's a 10-14. Okay, so the idea that, you know, this game is like underrepresenting people is, no, it's not. It's one of the biggest biggest games when it comes to actually representing a bunch of different people. But regardless, alright, so back to my original argument. I went on a little tangent. This game glorifies murder, right? Murder is a thing that happens in real life. You know what happens in real life? People get stabbed a lot. People die from getting stabbed. They get murdered. You know who got stabbed and killed? My uncle. My uncle got stabbed 12 times, or I don't know why I did that, and then was killed. Now, for me, I could go on a thing and say, hey, seeing the Legion fight with a survivor and stab them might offend me. Because, you know, I had a family member die due to someone stabbing them. Like, it could. You see, Ghostface and Legion are literally dudes with knives. Okay? But I can separate the game from reality. If I said that, hey, people getting stabbed and killed triggers me because my uncle was stabbed to death, people would be like, oh, well, you can't change the game. You know, just don't play the game then. If you're offended by it, don't play the game because we can't change it because Legion and Ghostface are already in there. You know, you can't change the game. And then, like, I'm sitting there like, well, okay, so that's something you can't change or something that you don't care about, but then someone says the name of a monster that doesn't exist and then everyone's mad. That can't be in the game, but something based on real life events that could actually happen and has happened specifically to me, that's not a problem. But at that point, I shouldn't play the game. But if they put in a Wendigo, then people who are offended by the name Wendigo, they need to be, you know, coddled. They can't be told, oh, well, then just don't play the game if you don't want to be offended by that. Like, that's how we're gonna go with this. Like, it's just dumb. It's really dumb. You can't say the name of a monster that doesn't exist, but something that's based on real life events that can stay in the game perfectly fine. Nobody will. If you have a problem with it, you just can't play the game. But a made up monster's name can't be in the game. What? Yeah, so it's really dumb. That's my little rant. I just wanted to go on and just like to prove a point. It's like, why are you bottlenecking behavior so bad over your dumb feelings? If you are offended, that's a you problem. You need to figure it out. It's not behavior's job to take into account every offense that could happen. I can separate the game from reality. I could separate the Legion crawling on top of a fighting survivor and stabbing him in a mori that I can't avoid if I play the game. If I play a game against a Legion with a mori, there is no way I can avoid that. But other people, they could just say no, we can't have a Wendigo because the name Wendigo is such a horrible thing that even though it doesn't exist, like whatever. It's really dumb. I just wanted to go on this rant because yeah, I can't deal with that. It's very very dumb. But yeah, so that'll be it for today. I would like to know what people think, if people, agree with me or not, but yeah. Alright, everyone, have a good day.